Hey, how's it going, everybody? Sarasota Tim. Welcome back to another Fireside Chat. Man, tonight, look, short pants, polo shirt. Believe me, it's chilly. You can use a fire. I wouldn't be sitting out here without one. I can guarantee you that. But I don't need pants, and I can get by without the jacket. A light jacket would not be uncomfortable, even with the fire. But this may be not the last night, actually. Tomorrow night and then every night after that, we'll be on low because it's going to be much warmer down here. Today was absolutely amazing. If you took the wind down just a few miles per hour, and it wasn't very, very gusty today, but it was a breezy, I should say. If it was just, light winds, the sunshine and 64 degrees was absolutely amazing. I Googled one time what state has the best weather. And I think I mentioned it before. Believe it or not, San Francisco, with an average daily high of 65, is supposed to be the ideal temperature. And while I like 80 degrees, actually 75, 72 to 75 with sunshine and no wind is just fine. That's like San Diego. And I know I've got a few subscribers that live out in California, and you're enjoying that kind of weather all the time with the low humidity and sunshine and temperatures on the coast anyway, around that degree. Well, I got me a near beer here. Thought it'd be appropriate for a fireside chat. I had, for eats tonight, I bought some Boar's Head deluxe ham and some more of that Swiss cheese that I had yesterday. And had some cheese and some deli ham. Now, Boar's Head, I know some of you say about eating these processed deli meats or whatever, but it's very good ham, and I'm satisfied. So that's the important thing. It wasn't a cake or a pie. So, what a beautiful fire. Now, tomorrow morning, I'm getting up early, and I might make breakfast out here, bacon and eggs. It's going to be nice. Likely I will, since I have bacon that's been defrosted, sitting in the refrigerator now for a couple of days. Going to go ahead and open it up and do another griddle video for you guys. You notice that the videos have kind of slowed up, not just slowed up, but the repetitiveness of Walmart grilling on the griddle and even Fireside Chat and different things. It's not by intention, actually. It's, I had that cough going on, and then we had rain and cold, and, I was just out of it was kind of a funky time. But today it was back to Nathan Benderson. I hit the gym up, had a good workout, got over 8,000 steps in today, and I feel really good. The self-esteem is pretty good tonight. But tomorrow morning, we're going to go over to Waterside to that market again. It should be beautiful. It really should be nice. We have the absolute best forecast for the foreseeable future. Several days of sunshine and right at 80 degrees. Today they were forecasting 62. It got to 61, and it got to 69 degrees. What my car said anyway. So I would think that when they forecast these 72 to 77 degrees, that we probably will see 80 degrees here in Florida. Because you can't keep that heater down. It gets warm here, but we won't have high humidity. I certainly hope not. Love this little fire pit. Mesmerizing. You got to get yourself one. Now, my home base here my friends that are coming in tomorrow are going to come over, and they want to see the home base and check out the camper. They've seen it before, but I think they just want to see my spot here. This is as good as it gets. It really is. I mean, for a camping spot, being in Sarasota, and everything right outside these walls that you could possibly want, including an ocean. The Gulf of America, by the way, is about a mile as a crow flies. So, really living large. People are coming and going. Man, it's just perfect out here. Perfect for a fire. So, another thing. So after tomorrow's video at Waterside, I will. We're going to go out and have a bite together, a lunch or a dinner. My friends that are coming, and I have been invited. Had these plans before to go back up to JJ's at the Villages, and we're going to shoot our guns. He's got a membership place at a shooting range, and he has the direct competitor, the one that came out before the gun that I bought. It's called an LCP Max, and it's about the same size. It's very, very competitive, and I'll make a video, and he'll video me shooting both at the range, and we'll do a side-by-side comparison on that. There's other videos on YouTube that do the same comparison with those two weapons, firearms. But Sarasota Tim hadn't done it yet, so I'm going to do my own. I'll bet you, I mean, just like myself and other content creators out there that have been, reviewing this firearm, have sold hundreds, maybe thousands of them. Well, that's what people do, is they look at reviews on YouTube before they buy things, campers, guns, whatever. I'll guarantee I've sold some. I know I've sold a lot of these campers, and probably a lot of these F-250s, and maybe even a few Honda Accords. Maybe a few fire pits too. Reviews, I used to do them quite a bit. Several months ago, I had people emailing me. They still email me every day. I don't respond. I don't accept, I should say. E-bikes, lights, more of the, power stations, those lithium batteries. But I've had so many of them, and then I've got so many of these power stations now, I just don't have a need. But when that time of year comes around and I've got some new technology or whatever, I may accept one and do another review on it. But right now, this is a great place to be. I know that every year here in the wintertime, we hear about the snow and frigid temperatures up north, almost everywhere but here. And we really couldn't brag about that last week because of the freezing weather that we've had. And I think it was 29 degrees this morning in the Villages. But that's now going to change, and as old man winter settles into the north, we will be the only spot, one of the only spots in the country that has, weather you can walk around in shorts. And I love it. It's the best time of the year to be here. Now, I was talking to JJ today about another cross-country trip. Now, I'm going to, you know that. I definitely will. But I enjoyed my travels with him, and he's got that nice motor coach he just bought, and I know he wants to travel in it again. But he doesn't seem to be as excited about repeating and doing the same thing over and over. We did it twice, and I get it. So he's talking about, maybe somewhere else. Now, whether we go together or not is to be continued, but it's nice to travel with somebody like that. And so I told him, I go, you know what, you might have a good idea there. I think I mentioned the other day about, when it gets warmer, where I had gone before with my Harley, and that was Yellowstone and the Tetons and Jackson and, Wyoming and Cody, and seeing the gunfights and the museums and, just traveling through there. It's just amazing. In fact, it's been so long, seems like, that it's definitely worthy of another trip. Whereas the trip out west is like, I could go blindfolded now. I mean, I would know every truck stop, every rest area on both the 20, the 10, and the 40. I've done them so many times now. So that's very possible that even if I don't go with JJ and Bev, then I'll do that, on my own. Definitely. Of course, I'd like to go back and, and see Johnny Vegas and everybody else out there that would obviously show up, because it's just a short drive for all those guys that come over to Vegas or Laughlin. So it might have to be on the schedule. Yeah, this is nice. This is, when you have a camper, one of the great things about it is if you're in the time of year where you can come outside, during the day and the night, you don't worry about bugs or frigid temperatures or boiling heat, and it's just perfect. And you can come out and barbecue, or you can have a TV out here, or some music, or just stare at a fire. Have you some friends, maybe another RV, a camper of some friends that come over and sit and talk, play cards, whatever. So many fun things when you come outside the camper that you can do that, makes it all part of what it is. And so even though I'm sitting here by myself talking to you guys, it's bitching. This is all right, man. This is good. I mean, I've been in a good mood all day today since that sun came out and it warmed up. Yeah, it's been a good day. Couldn't believe how many people were at that Nathan Benderson Park today, and all those rowers. Those were not athletes. Those looked like, regular folks, or even the parents of some of the rowers. Because I know in the competitions they have boats that have several rowers, but they're single file, where one rower has the oars, if you want to call it, I guess that's what they are, two of them. And today, these boats are out there, they had people sitting side by side with one oar each. Never seen that before. There's like 18 people on one of those boats. But people are out riding their bikes and running and jogging. If you're an active individual, and that's probably going to be great up in the villages too, because of the weather this week. If I take advantage and get up there in the next few days, we'll ride around the golf cart. I'll play some golf maybe. I'm definitely taking the clubs. And go down to one of those squares and hear some music. Absolutely. Yeah, that'll be fun. We'll get some videos of it. So like I said, I can't let too much time go by before I have to, just go and do something. And it's really very fortuitous that I've, got a friend up there, JJ and Bev, and they have a nice home, an OPH, that I can go to. And we can have a good time and shoot the guns together and enjoy some camaraderie and cook out and whatever, it's fun with those guys. And so it's been a little while since I was up there. So I'm definitely due for another visit since it's only a couple of hours, 2.5 hours at the most up there. Easy drive. And taking the CC rider, it's going to be free. Last time I was up there, I had stopped with the camper and stayed, 2, 3, 4 days before coming on home from Laughlin. This will be a first where I leave from here and just jump in my car and pack a little bag and go up. So yeah, we discussed that today. That's coming up soon. First, I'm going to spend a little time with my good friends Larry and Denise coming down. They're going to be busy too, doing their own thing, trying to hit all the sites. These people get around. These people have been everywhere. They love road trips. And Larry was telling me, it's like 16 degrees, or it was, up in the Georgia, northern Georgia area where they live. So, I mean, they may not go home. I mean, it's really going to be stellar weather here starting tomorrow. I mean, it was beautiful today, so it's begun already, and that's just awesome. I'm happy for them. I'm happy for me and everybody else around here. And I'm going to make some more videos showing my gun collection and a comparison of the guns and what they're about. It's not always just about having one that you can carry on your person, but for that particular need, the one I got is awesome. But for target shooting or just collection, if you're camping and you're in an area where, you're worried about bears or certain wildlife, you want something that's got a lot of power. I got a couple of those too. So we'll introduce them to you and show you what I got. I got a whole sack full of holsters. That's kind of a joke really, because anybody can tell you that owns firearms, handguns I should say, have bought lots of holsters. You got to buy 5 to find one that you halfway like. It's really weird. I'm holster poor. I got a few of them. But I got a few I like pretty good for my larger guns. And regarding the CC Rider, I've really been enjoying driving her. It's just so much easier than the truck, buzzing around town here and going over to the park, and I'm able to go to the car wash every day with it, keep her clean. The Super Duty looks good sitting right there. It's ready to hook up to this baby and drag it somewhere. Really nice. Monday morning, don't let me forget, I've got a doctor appointment to check this cholesterol levels, and I got to fast. Nothing after midnight till I have to get my blood drawn Monday morning. I forgot one morning. I got up, started drinking coffee, and then I got there and I said, we can't do it because you drank and ate. I think the time that I messed up, I actually ate as well. So I got to remember tomorrow night, when I go to bed, don't wake up Monday morning and drink coffee. Go to the doctor. Fortunately, it's an early appointment. So when that's over, I'll definitely be able to get, I'm just looking over here, this dually's pulling out. Everybody's got a dually. I mean, they buy these trucks that can pull 20-something thousand pounds. They got some money invested in one of those babies. It's kind of cool that I don't have any more invested in these two than what some people spend on one truck. It's a good way to look at it. Now, the last Fireside Chat, I got into talking about the different occupations and careers that I've had. And, you know, I always say I was in the car business 17 years, and I had my own self-employment advertising business for 33 years. And I mean, 33 and 17 is what? 50 years, right? And I'm 66. And I've been retired since 62. So that's, you take 4 off, and it's not 50. So somewhere, I missed 2 or 3 or 4 years. But we're splitting hairs, you know. I don't know which was more or less, or if it was 2 more in the car business and 2 less, or 2 less in each, or whatever, but a long time. And, you know, actually, before that, someone was, I don't know, they were trying to catch me up or something in the comments about like I'm fibbing or whatever. And I thought, well, you know, listen to this. When I was 5, when my mother remarried and my stepfather raised me, he's gone to heaven already. I have no living parents or stepfather. Oh, the furnace just came on. Now that's weird. I should go turn that off. It really doesn't need to be running. When I was 5 years old, when he married my mother, he taught me how to be a man. That's what he was a rough guy. He was old school country guy. And he was not a person that went to college. I don't think he finished school. He was a tile setter, and he was a good, common sense, moral man, but was not a highly educated, you know, professional occupation man. So he took me on job sites with him when I was a kid before I started school. And then even when I had school, when I wasn't in school, I would go on these construction sites with him. And he just had me be in there with him. And I thought it was cool because I was young, and he had me washing his tools in a 5-gallon bucket with water. And he had me go and fetch water and stuff, and a 5-gallon bucket of water was way too heavy for me when I was a little boy like that, so I would carry it in a paint bucket and go fetch more and more and more, probably only a half a paint bucket, and I would fill up the 5-gallon bucket. And in the tile work in those days, it wasn't like they do today with just tile and glue. We actually had to mix up mortar, cement. And let me just tell you, if you don't know, we did what they call float off the walls. So you'd have a drywall in these new construction homes, just a drywall. And then around the tub, we would put straight edges and 2x4s on the wall, nail them to the wall about an inch away, and then we would apply chicken wire, that octagon-shaped, bendable, very bendable wire, to the boards that were off the wall about an inch. And then he would take, he called it mud, the cement and concrete on a hand trowel. It had a center handle. It was a big square. And he would have a trowel, and he'd go down in that 5-gallon bucket, and he'd scoop up the mud, put it on this big hand trowel, or whatever they called that, because this was the hand trowel. And then he would take it off. he would mix it a little bit more on that, and he would plaster it on the chicken wire, which would hold it to the wall. And it had to be the right setup, like firmness, where it wasn't real soupy and it wasn't dried out. And then the two boards that were nailed to the drywall, try to imagine this, with the wire, and he'd put that mud on there, and it'd be all kind of, not smooth yet. Then he would take, those were straight edges. Those were not the 2x4s. Those were straight edges, he called it. Then he would take a 2x4 stiff board, and he would run that up the two straight edges and skim it and dump the mud off the 2x4 back in the bucket. And now he would have a smooth, even wall of mud, a ½ inch or an inch off, stuck in that chicken wire. So after that's set up, then he would take mastic, or this glue, and spread that over the concrete, the cement, the mud, and then I would take, as a little boy, my job was to take, I don't know if you ever picked up a box of tile before, but they're only like this high, square box, but it's like lifting gold bars. Ceramic is heavy. And this might have been when I was, a little bit older. I did it with him for quite a while, a few years. And my job was to get the tile out of the boxes and have them on the tub near, or on a little thing, he had a platform or something, because this man had hands. He could grab a stack of tile, and I don't know how many pieces it was he could put in his hand, and he'd have another stack here that he would take off, and he would just rack that tile on that wall that he had put the mastic on that holds the tile. The back of the tile had little grooves on it, and then what he would do is he would take the little triangle trowel, and he'd go in there in them joints, and he'd take the bottom of the trowel with his wood handle, and he'd tap it to get those lines, those grooves, perfect. He was a magician, man, and he would rack this tile on the wall, in minutes. You just rack it out. I'm just emptying this tile out of these boxes as fast as I can. Go grab another box, open it up. He's working with the time of the mastic not setting up too much, so it would stick. And then, after that's set up, we'd have lunch probably by then. And then when the tile was good and set up, then, you ready? He would make up a bucket of grout. And again, remember, these were all bags of cement and lime and sand we would put on the back of the truck with this big mortar box that we would hoe the cement, or the mud, I should say, back and forth, putting water in it, mixing up it. We didn't have a mixer. This was old school, Bubba. It was manual labor. He was a big, strong man. So I'm bringing in this tile, and he's mixing up this grout, and with grout you use a spongy trowel. It looks like a trowel, but it's got rubber. And he would spread that over, and it would go in that, grout those cracks. And then he had that big sponge, and you always got to have fresh water. Go get me some fresh water. Here I am getting that water again. I'm going to get the water, and I come back, and he's wringing out his sponge, and he's wiping the tile, leaving the tile clean so the grout doesn't stick to that, and it just leaves a haze. But the grout is in the cracks, because that rubber trowel he uses is kind of a squeegee that gets it off the slick part of the tile, the face. And then when it was all dry, he'd buff it. And I mean, when we would leave at the end of the day, not only did we earn our money, but it was just beautiful. Today you go into modern homes and you see the tile stuck on the wall, like to the drywall. They just take a trowel of a bucket of glue, and they just spread it on there with that teeth trowel, that tooth, and just make these little trough looking, I don't know how to describe it, but you know what I'm saying. And you just stick it on, and they'd grout it and call it a day. But we literally in the morning, we had to go to the tile place at like 5 in the morning. We would take a shovel and they would have piles of sand, like the kind that goes in sand boxes, that orange, yellow, beautiful, clean sand. And we would shovel for 30 minutes into the back of his GMC truck. He had an old GMC. Because that was the mud. And then we would get 100-pound bags of cement, powdered gray cement, and then we would use lime. Lime went in it. It was a combination of lime, cement, and sand. And then he had this thing that looked like a boat. It was a big metal mortar box that all the sand would go in. We'd tear open a bag of cement. He'd pour that in there. Then the lime. Then he would take a hoe and he would literally use the wood part again and make all these holes in the sand. And that's where the water, when we poured the water in, so it could get down in there, because it would suck that water up like you wouldn't believe. I never added so much water in my life. And then you start hoeing it. You start hoeing it back. You're pulling it this way. Then you go to the other side of that boat-looking thing, and you hoe it back and add more water. And that's how it mixes. And today, these guys, they row up with a motor-powered, looks like the back of a cement truck. It just spins around and makes the cement for them. In fact, before I finish the story, a lot of these job sites, because when the tile man goes in, a lot of stuff wasn't done yet. Like there was no lights. There was no electricity. The place just had drywall. It would have been studded drywall, and the electricians, sometimes they would be working along with us. We'd have we would have to hang our own lights, and there were no stairs yet. A lot of the finished carpentry work wasn't done. And so my stepfather would have to literally take a board and nail boards to it and make like a ladder that we would throw over to go up in or across into the driveway, because it'd be all deep, and to give us something to walk on to carry our materials in, our tools and the buckets and the tile boxes, and man. And then the favorite part for me, I got to tell this part. I was a little boy. Have you ever heard of a roach coach? It's those little food trucks. They come around, they got that diamond plate, silver metal beds on the back, you know. But man, you talking about a sight for sore eye. They would come in, they would have all that chipped ice and all these drinks stuck down in there, and potato chips and sandwiches and candy bars and different goodies and stuff. All the good stuff. And it was beautiful. I mean, they just came and it was all stocked up, and they would, as soon as they come on the job site, they'd be blowing that horn. And everybody just puts everything down when the roach coach showed up. They had hot dogs, different things like that. And we'd go out there. But for the most part, we actually brought bologna sandwiches in a brown bag that my mom would make for us. And it sat in the front seat of the GMC. Bologna on white bread with mayonnaise. And they'd be nice and warm. By the time lunchtime came, we'd go to the roach coach and get maybe a bag of chips or a drink at least. And my dad was always, knew I'd be excited about that, so he'd get me a Coke or whatever it was I drank. And then we'd take a 5-gallon bucket, go back into this empty home that's just being built with our job going on in there, and turn a 5-gallon bucket over, or we'd just sit right on the floor and lean against the wall and break open a bologna sandwich that was wrapped in, get this, wax paper, not even aluminum foil. Sometimes we use aluminum foil. And we would eat that bologna sandwich and drink a Coke or whatever it was, and it was the best bologna sandwich I ever ate in my life. Because I was hungry, I'd worked hard. We had, cement and tile and grout, and the smell was on us, on our pants, the concrete, and dealing with that sponge and washing those tools all day. I had that, even though I'd wash my hands, you could smell it. So when you eat the bologna sandwich, I could visualize it and taste it in my mind right now. I'd take a bite of the bologna sandwich, and my hand would be here, and I could smell that concrete. And it went good together. Yeah, it was good. And I'll tell you, I got to finish the story. I know I keep saying that. He taught me how to be a man, like I said. And so he got me a billfold. That's what we call it, not a wallet. He got me a billfold. And I'm a little boy. And he put cash money. I mean, I had singles, fives, and tens. I don't think I had a 20. Maybe together I did. He would pay me. He got paid every week on Friday. And he'd go and cash his check immediately. And he would give me money. And I'd put it in my wallet, my billfold. And he told me, never ask another man how much money he's got in his billfold. And don't tell anybody how much you got in your billfold. These are just some of his sayings, you know. And I remember carrying that billfold. I didn't have any ID or credit cards or anything like that. I was just a little boy, but I had cash in there. You talking about somebody that felt rich and felt like I earned my money. It wasn't just I'm a son on the job doing what I'm told. I was paid. He believed in that. He taught me how to be a man in that respect. And I could go on a job site today. I mean, I say I got skills and I can't build a doghouse, but I could be a good hand around a tile setter because so much of it would be familiar to me. So anyway, I hope you guys like that story. That was something that is indelibly in my mind that I will never, ever forget. Look at this, I'm turning it down. And God rest his soul, his name was Charles. And he was more of a father to me than my own father because for whatever reason, my mom and my real father divorced when I was very young. And when she married Charles, he raised me. And he raised me like I was his. He did not treat me anything less than his own son. And he was in the military and he died of cancer. But a good man, a good man. And he's the man, I'll have to tell you again a story, not tonight, that provided. I've talked about Christmases before, of how we celebrated Christmases and how things weren't wrapped and everything was, in the living room in the morning that Santa Claus brought. This man not only delivered and had plenty of stuff for Christmas for me, but my brother and my sister. There were three of us. And we always had food. We ate good. And he always told me at the table, take all you want, but eat all you take. And clean your plate. I mean, he had some good old school lessons that are, like I say, indelibly in my mind that I actually, use in my own life. Because we are, apples don't fall far from their trees, right? So anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed evening chat tonight, Fireside Chat. I did. I enjoyed reminiscing about that. Do you have a similar story? Are you familiar with the tile setting business? Were you a construction worker? Did you work with your father when you were a kid? Like I'm talking about a little boy, and go on a job site with him of whatever kind of a career he had. And do you like bologna sandwiches? Do you know what the roach coach is? And they still got them. They still got them, I'm sure. They're like food trucks now. They look like Amazon vans, they big U-Haul type things. They come in now and they cook gourmet food in them. But this was just a Chevy Ford truck. Most of them were Chevys with that box on the back. And it just had, a bunch of goodies in there. But I'm going to go on in there tonight and get my shower and clean my place up a little bit so it's respectable tomorrow for Larry and Denise if they want to come by and check out the place. We'll get you a video in the morning of maybe making some bacon and eggs. I know I said that the other day, but it was too darn cold. And then we'll get over to the market. So I'll have to make breakfast early. Man, I wish I could have a pancake because this thing can cook a mean pancake. Then we're going to go up to the villages here in a few days, sooner than later. I want to spend some time with Larry and Denise first. And then we're going to go shoot the gun. And I'm going to do some gun comparisons, show you my other collection. So we've got some things that I'd like to share with you guys. And we'll continue to do our fireside chats and cooking and enjoying this wonderful weather down here in South Florida where everybody wants to be. So again, have a good night, everybody. I'll see you in the morning. Crush it!